Hello, Phil Houghton here with another episode of Stories from My Family. Today we are going to look at a little cine film made by my dad, Stanley Houghton, with the willing volunteers of my mum Lilian and brother Tony being co-opted into the action. My children must despair of my video making efforts, but at least they understand it runs in the family. Anyhow, this was filmed in years BP before Philip, and so it was probably shot around 1960 in the house where I grew up, 103 Lingfield Crescent in Eltham in South East London. You'll see that the garden is quite large. It was apparently the show house for the development when my grandfather bought it from new in about 1930 for around £900, I believe. Now, before we watch the film, it's worth pointing out to those who may not be aware that using cinefilm was quite demanding. So this little film was shot on one of these, a Bell & Howell 252 camera for 8mm cinefilm. Good old classic chemical film that needs to be sent off and developed and then returned to be shown on a projector. We had one like this, a Bell & Howell Movie Master. Cinefilming was quite demanding, number of traps for the young player. The camera itself was powered by clockwork. This is the winding handle here, and when fully wound would give you about 30 seconds of filming, so no long boring shots here. Towards the end of the run it might slow down a bit, resulting in the clip speed speeding up, a bit like a time lapse when displayed. It operated at 16 frames per second, unlike video, which on YouTube that you're watching now is around about 30 frames per second, so it's already going to look a bit odd to us. Exposure was manually set, but there's no indication that it had been set correctly until you got the film back. Framing was also a bit tricky, as the viewfinder gave a larger field of view than was actually exposed. The area to be captured is marked by the line that you can see here. So my mum Lilian never really understood this, and so her time on filming duty, already challenged by her being only 5'2" tall, is regularly marked out by the subject's head being cut off and out of frame. Cinefilm itself is sold on reels with about 10 metres of film rolled up on them, but for reasons of design I cannot fathom. To maximise capacity, I guess, only half the film is exposed on the first use, and to get full use out of it you've got to get to the end of the reel, take it out, turn it over, and then put it back in the camera and carry on filming on the second half. It's not difficult to imagine what can go wrong here. So a few of our holiday films were a little bit difficult to watch, as my dad had effectively used it by accident 3 times and hence made a double exposed film. All very arty, but no idea what's going on. The biggest challenge though was that you really needed to do it all in one go. It was in principle possible to cut and splice cinefilm, but for home use it was never very reliable, usually gave a messy bit in the film and often broke, halting the film show altogether. So filming needs a bit of planning. Watch out for the throw of the matchbox in the bit coming up. It's also obviously silent. I've added in the background music. So visual storytelling is absolutely key. And then what do you do about titles? Well, with invention, in my dad's case, he filmed through a piece of glass he was written on with my mum's lipstick. I wonder if he asked first. Anyway, that's more than enough for me. Let's watch The Pruner. So there we go. Love that little skip. Having served in the Royal Engineers during the Second World War, and that's another story to come, he was comfortable with engineering and technology, but nonetheless, I think he was a bit ahead of his time in taking up the challenges of cine film. We can all be grateful they did, though, for the memories that it leaves. Okay, see you next time. Bye for now.